going to prove to the world that I can do this, that, and the other thing and prove them all wrong. I am limitless in what I can do.
We always think of burnout as like physically, like we're tired or we don't feel well or, and like we think, oh, that's burnout. But burnout also goes inside.
These are all the symptoms of when our souls have been neglected. And when our souls have been neglected for a long enough time, that's when withdrawals, and we will bottom out. And I think that's what a lot of people are experiencing right now.
Hey friends, welcome back to What Even Is This, the podcast that reminds you life's a mess, so let's talk about it. I'm Jane, and as always, I'm joined by my lovely co-host, Jordan. Hey, Jordan.
Hello, Jane, and hey to everyone listening. We are just two working moms trying to figure out why life keeps throwing new levels at us without asking, rude, and we've clearly mastered none of the previous ones.
Amen to that. And today, Jordan, we are spiraling over a question that I know is universal. Are you ready?
Shoot.
Why do we suck at resting?
Yeah.
And listen, I don't know about you, but my secret is I'm tired, like always tired, you're tired, we're tired. And yes, I know rest is supposed to be this magical solution, but when I finally get a minute to rest in my day,
Yep.
I instantly feel guilty. Like there's a to-do list somewhere crying because I'm ignoring it or something, okay? Like I can't handle it, all right?
Yeah, no, I get it. And what it sounds like there is you're dealing with the guilt rest combo, which is, quite the devastating duo.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Jordan. So before we bring in our guest, yes, we have a guest today, folks, that's going to talk to us about this whole idea of rest and burnout and all the things that we like to spiral over. I want us to take a minute to kind of just talk about it, burnout, overwhelm, and why rest feels impossible even when we're desperate for it. So Jordan, here's my question for you.
Yeah.
What is your personal burnout tell? Like what starts happening to you, whether it's physically, mentally, emotionally, you name it. What is the tell that you're like, I'm entering into burnout territory?
I would say for me, and I feel like this is like such a buzzword right now, is I get overstimulated. So everything gets too loud, too smelly, too cold, if there's two at the beginning of it, then that means I'm almost,
you're there.
I'm at my limit. Yes.
Yeah.
How about you?
Yeah. I get very short with people, very judgy of other people, which is not my favorite person to put on, but my brain goes there. I'm like, why do they do that? They're dumb, and I just start becoming like a worse version of myself when I am on the edge of the burnout. And it's usually directed towards the person. Like I instantly feel like I'm the victim here. And so like, why are you doing this to me?
Yeah.
My back is hurting from carrying the weight of this responsibility. Okay. Like, I need to go see a masseuse for that. I don't know. I just, I just know that once I start getting into that mode, I go, like I think something's out of whack here. I got to check myself before I wreck myself,
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Jordan. Well, I'm glad to know I'm not alone in this. I don't think you and I are alone in this at all. But we really wanted to bring in someone who has spent years helping people reconnect with their inner lives and actually understand how rest works.
Yeah. So when we were talking about this topic and we were trying to think of people to talk to, I had remembered talking to a few years ago, Mindy Caliguire, who is our guest today. And she's the author of Soul Care, and she's the founder of the Soul Care Ministry. And she has spent decades helping people reconnect with God by slowing down enough to reconnect with themselves, which is, the trick.
It is the trick. And she was really cool. It was the first time I had ever met her. I thought she was a pretty groovy chick myself. But she is going to help us unpack why productivity culture lies to us, what real rest looks like, and how to finally stop feeling bad for needing a break. Because spoiler alert, you are allowed to be tired and you're allowed to rest. I'm preaching to the people in the back here, okay?
Yeah.
Like, it's allowed. Your body is telling you something when you get to that point. So maybe we should pay attention, right?
Exactly. And as you will learn, it is your body and your soul who are trying to get your attention. So, yeah, grab a beverage of choice. Mine is boring water, but hey, it works. Find a quietish corner if you can.
Yeah. And let's jump in, Jordan. I can't wait.
Sounds good. We do have a very special guest with us today. Mindy, you are an advocate for rest and caring for one's soul, but that unfortunately does not make you immune to some kind of chaos in your life. So, all right, let's hear it. What is your personal chaos?
Hardly. When you said that about sometimes the goal is just to make it through Tuesday, it made me think a little bit of what our day yesterday was like. So,
boy.
It's a little context. I live in the Boulder, Colorado area.
Oh, cool.
The fires that burned through Marshall Fire, really heavy wildfires about 3.5 years ago now, displaced us from one home. We have land in Boulder that was heavily burned. We got an RV and spent that summer out on the land and had sold our property in the fire damaged community. By the end of that summer, we bought a house nearby, 15 minutes from here, that is because we think we need indoor plumbing before Colorado winter. So the RV was a nice idea, but it was kind of a fun little thing for the summer. So, and so we bought a home in 15 minutes away in Arvada, but we bought it with the idea it'd be great if we could Airbnb it so it would have some revenue, right? So, because we could be out in the land a lot. So yesterday I was sitting in this very seat, prepping for a different podcast, and my husband had some sales appointments, all virtual. I had some different business calls I had to do, follow-up meetings. And we get a request through Airbnb for an 8-day reservation for that day, same day check-in, which I didn't know that you could do that. I thought that was not even a thing. But it was a decent thing. And I'm like, Jeff, I don't know if this is real or not, but like, I don't know if we can get the cleaners in. I don't know if we can whatever. But by 3:45 in the afternoon, from basically that podcast went till noon. So I didn't really engage until noon.
Yeah.
Until I finally closed the door behind me at 3:45, and we had emptied every single closet, emptied every single.
Oh my goodness.
The refrigerator in the basement. We had we had a cleaning team that was able to come in and refresh all the linens. It was, we had to put our whole life in for we're just going to be for 15 days. We're gone. And so it's like, you had to pack. What am I taking? What am I leaving? What goes in the closet? How do we lock it all? It was hilarious. And by the end of the day, I really was a sign of the therapy and the work that my husband and I have done, that we didn't get at each other's throats during this process. It was
That's so funny.
Oh my gosh, it was all hands on deck. We've got to get this house in order. And closing the door at 3:45, knowing that 4:00 was when the check-in time is, right?
Yeah.
So it was,
wow.
It was so chaotic. And then I just spent an hour before this call unloading things that, because you're pulling all your vitamins out of all the cabinets. You're pulling all your medications out. You're pulling all your travel to go mugs. You're pulling.
Wow.
It was hilarious.
Wild. So it was a real reservation.
Oh yeah, it was.
Oh, wow.
And even then, I kept thinking, this could be fake. This could be fake.
Yeah.
But it was somebody who had 10 reviews and was it seemed legit.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Anyway,
that's crazy.
By the end of the day, we slept in the RV last night because the other chaos was we've got puppies at the beginning of this year. So we have a 3-year-old Great Pyrenees, and the puppies are literally sleeping at my feet right now. Hopefully they don't do anything crazy.
Yeah.
But they're Australian Shepherds.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
And it's an RV. It's not big. And so we've got a Great Pyrenees and 2 Australian Shepherds and a cat and my husband
my word.
in the RV all night. And the Great Pyrenees just barks all night long because she hears a coyote on the on the hillside far away. And Anyway, it was funny.
my
It was
word.
hilarious, a little chaotic. But the point is, Jordan, I'm glad you said that about like my passion is around the care of the soul, which my passion for that came out of a season of total chaos in my own life when my kids were quite young. So I was pregnant with our second son. Our baby was not even 2 yet. And he turned 2 while I was super sick. And the way that my life started to shift in orienting around the care of the soul, and I know you didn't even ask me a question yet about this, but like
This is how good she is with this. She just does
just
it. This
knows.
Is
This is
her
beautiful.
speech.
but it ties to chaos, right?
It does.
Like,
yeah.
like modern life is chaotic.
Yep.
It just is. And let's assume that most seasons of humanity probably had their own versions of chaos. So this is our turn, right?
Yeah.
But it's pretty chaotic. And it's been particularly heavy the last number of years. But when you're in a season of life with little kids and any kind of medical conditions, which was all what started to happen for me the year I turned 30, it was like, it got so chaotic, I've like kind of bottomed out. And I felt I was invited into a different way of life, a different way of prioritizing the well-being of my soul, which everything in the chaos mode is what tells you, urgent, urgent, urgent. Don't take care of yourself. You don't have time for that. And what I've learned over the years is that if you do prioritize, if you do say, well, the dishes might not get done, and I don't know what you called that nightly walk through the house, but I should try that. But whatever.
I think it's nightly reset. I think is what Instagram told me.
The
It's called.
things that do help us,
Yeah.
they really do help. And, you might have a chaotic version of one where you accidentally throw out the full bottle of medicine, but it happens. But those things really are important to orient our lives around, not as the time when it's the end of the evening and you've got nothing better to do with your time.
Right.
That time never happens.
No.
And so we have to prioritize these things. And what I've learned now over many decades is that when you orient around that stuff, you so greatly expand your capacity to handle the inevitable chaos.
Yeah.
The goal isn't to stop the chaos. You cannot stop the chaos, but you can be ready to hold the weight of it when it comes.
Yeah.
And so it's really interesting in reflecting back on yesterday. I had one of those mornings when the puppies woke up. They woke up really early, and it's like 4:30, 5 o'clock, and I usually wake up closer to 6. But I was awake, and I was like, well, maybe I should just get up and go and make my coffee and sit down with my journal, and ended up having a good solid hour of just not a pressured, I've got to have a quiet time, or I've got to, it was no demands. It was just, I'm going to sit here in the quiet and notice what thoughts are banging around in my head, and maybe write about it, and, do that stuff, and have some silent prayer, like just some silence. So then I go into the day and I do the podcast and I'm doing all the things. And really, when I reflected back, it's like that. I think there's a connection between when we create the space for our soul and how we can handle it when, this wasn't a painful chaos. Nobody was hurt. Nobody, it was, can you scramble around and get your house ready? No, it wasn't life and death. It wasn't that kind of stuff. But it helps.
It does.
It really does help.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and I think, as we move into now, we actually get to pick your brain a little bit about, we're going to dive deeper. But, the core question for today is, why does rest feel impossible?
Yeah.
And, I think it's this belief that it is impossible that we're all buying into. That just keeps the chaos churning, and it keeps the burnout coming. And, it's a lot. It's a lot. So we're going to hear from an expert and hopefully figure out how to stop such cycles. But I don't know about you, but I'm always tired And I
Preach.
know, right? And I know I should rest because obviously, you're tired. That's the answer. Well, go rest. But here's the thing. When I find time to rest, I am one of the people that feels very guilty taking that quote unquote free time to rest. And I feel like there's like a million other things that I should be doing instead. And going back to what I said, herein lies the problem, right? And, I know that I am not the only one dealing with this internal struggle and this belief that rest literally feels impossible to achieve. So today we're talking about it with someone who I think can really bring some clarity and solutions to, I'm going to call it the rest fiasco. So Mindy Caliguire, you have heard her speaking already, but there is her full name. She is author of Soul Care and founder of Soul Care Ministry, and has spent decades helping people reconnect with God by reconnecting with their inner lives. So we're diving into why productivity culture is a liar, why real rest actually, or what it actually looks like, and how to stop feeling bad for needing to take a break. And spoiler alert, you're allowed to be tired and you're allowed to rest. So grab your beverage of choice, find a quiet-ish corner if you can, and let's jump into questions. So Mindy, first question that I'm going to hit you with, your work in Soul Care emphasizes that neglecting our inner life leads to all kinds of outer chaos, which we were just talking about. So why do you think that so many working moms feel guilty about slowing down even when they know they're burnt out?
I think it really, Jordan, a lot of times comes back to the concept of permission, that we feel like we need permission. Like it's somebody, like we're not allowed to, right? We'll even use that language. I just can't, I don't have the capacity. And yet we do end up doing other things and that we feel are more important or are required of us. And usually our own care is pretty low on that list. And let's be honest, the demands of being a working mom are high. It depends. In many cultures, there's a lot of things we could go into on this. Sometimes women who are working in a faith context still bear a disproportionate amount of the home life responsibilities.
It sure does. Yeah.
It's not, I'm not saying that's always the case, that there are exceptions, but cultural norms in a faith context generally assume, and a woman will feel guilty. Like a man, it was more like he's doing her a favor if he does those kinds of things.
Sure.
Instead of shared ownership of these responsibilities, where it's not only your, at least from my theological context. I don't want to drop any controversial things too hard. So anyway, we tend to feel like we need somebody's permission. Like, is it okay if the laundry doesn't all get done?
Yeah.
And we then need to give ourselves the permission to be like, my soul can be at rest if the laundry isn't done, if the dishes are still in the sink. Sometimes our perfectionistic tendencies that we want to move into life with a lot of control. If we can control the external, then we feel like then we'll be okay. And there is no scenario where every circumstance outside ourselves can be controlled. We can't. We just can't. And so, when you said, what did you call it? The productivity
Culture.
Illusion culture. Yeah. And the false claim that if you were more productive, you would be able to rest just isn't true anymore. There was actually, I knew I was going to need this week. I saw this in a publication I get to, like a weekly or a daily newsletter thing. Maybe you've seen this. Give me just a second to find it. So it's Morning Brew. It's a total news source. Okay. Their headline for this email was Infinite Workday. Do you see that?
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, Infinite Workday. Okay. They cited a report that from Work Life, look at this. I knew I was going to need this week. Employees are imprisoned in an infinite workday.
Oh,
okay.
Yikes.
This was the latest data from Microsoft's Work Trend Index special report. And it goes into several layers of what is changing in the data, because Microsoft Teams if you use that, and many companies do, tracks everything. When meetings are happening, when they get scheduled, when people wake up and start using their chat features, like they know that in every time zone all over the world, and they are seeing some disturbing trends if we hold the value that we shouldn't have an infinite workday. Well, if that's what's true in our work life, and I'm sorry, motherhood is a bit of an infinite workday.
Yeah.
Amen. It's true.
Yeah. A blessed one, a beautiful one that is changing and shaping precious lives. It is not an inconvenience. It is a beautiful, beautiful gift. And there are even some false narratives about what being the best kind of, right kind of, perfect mother is that is out there. And so there's just not a lot of room for being human and having limits. And yet God has created us, I believe, with limits. And they're not bad, they're not wrong. And he appears to have created rhythms for his people from the earliest pages of Genesis that acknowledge rest and the value of rest. And not only, sometimes rest gets positioned as a like, oh, I got to spend it all. And then I go rest so I can go back out and spend it all. And it's like, I really want to flip this. So where we see rest is the thing that we're working from it, not towards it. I've heard other communicators talk about it that way, and I really resonate with that. It's like, we don't earn rest once we've worked hard enough.
Yeah, right.
We rest as a rhythm of our faith and trust that God's got it, that God's got us, and learning to still those thoughts in your mind that are full of condemnation and accusation, and you didn't do this, and you should have done that. That's oppressive.
Yeah.
Those thoughts are not neutral.
No.
They impact how we feel about ourselves, how we feel about our kids, how we feel about our home, how we feel about our work. And in a world of infinite work days, infinite parenting, God speaks a different language.
Yeah, I really appreciate what you're sharing with us here, Mindy, because I will say I feel like I've been in a season where I've been learning to accept the permission that I have limits. I am a firstborn daughter. Okay.
Same.
Okay.
Same.
Oh, awesome.
Three.
Oh, we're in the club.
It is a thing.
It is
definitely a thing.
Yes.
So I'm an achiever at heart, and I want to be efficient. I want to be productive. I want to prove to the world that I can do this, that, and the other thing, and prove them all wrong. I am limitless in what I can do. And I feel like within the last year, God has really been taking me on this journey on hey, you actually do have limits. And it's been something that I feel like he's been uprooting within me as a working mom of hey, you are really tying your identity to how productive you are. And this is a lie that you're believing, that how productive you are equates you to being the best or achievement. And those were idols that I have learned to I need to surrender those over and really think, okay, so now that I have permission to live within my limits, what does that what does that mean? I'm curious for you, Mindy, how have you personally resisted this lie that productivity culture tells us that our worth is tied to how much we get done? Could you share any insight?
Yeah, and it's a lie, and it's constantly reinforced in every Instagram feed, in every it is just constantly reinforced. So it's not a one and done thing. It's I think most people who are followers of God would know that their value does not fundamentally lie in what they do, but it is a very strong sort of meta narrative over modern life. So, my initial wake up call, Jane, came when I was, again, my kids, I had a not yet 2-year-old, I was pregnant with our second son, and my whole world imploded when I had very severe physical symptoms that sidelined me. And I was I couldn't walk. I couldn't eat unless I was blindfolded. I couldn't read. I couldn't write. I couldn't watch television. I couldn't do anything but lay in a bed. And this is forced rest, puking my guts out most of the time.
Right.
I know it's a lovely thought here, but
Well, you
we're
know, it's
being
real.
honest. And nobody knew what was wrong, and they didn't know if it would get better. And it was so severe that, kind of like a book called The Severe Mercy by Sheldon Van Auken, if either of you know that. It's so beautiful if you've never read it.
Okay.
Oh, it's so good.
Adding it to the
Older
list.
book. Yeah, right. There's always lists.
Yeah.
But it won't be a up and to the right kind of book. It's actually beautifully written and
I love
just
it.
a welcome gift. But the author describes how a very, very severe season in our life can actually become a mercy that God used to open us to a new path. And so I will say I was terrible at understanding my limits. I had and when you are a particularly high capacity person, like most oldest daughters are,
Guilty. Yep.
yep, you're just used to getting stuff done. And if it needs to be done, then who else is going to do it? And we hold it and we hold it and we hold it and we hold it. And it's part of the way God shapes us. You guys are both leaders and you hold great responsibility in other areas. And I think that can be very good until it's not. And when we don't know how to just receive care, when we don't know how to just be still and rest, and not be producing, not be solving, not be meeting the probably very real needs that are right under our nose. I was not smart enough to do any of that. It was a season for me of forced rest. But what happened was it caused me to reevaluate that fundamental lie that I think I had not only been the productivity culture of the world around us, but I thought that's what being a faithful follower of Jesus required. And so when you add on the layer of, and there's all kinds of like rhetoric around that in ministry circles, I'd rather burn out than rust out. And there's a glorification of, I haven't taken a day off in, 3 months. And like that stuff is not of God.
Yeah.
It's of pride, it's of ego, it's of our own Messiah complexes that we think we're the ones that's saving everybody. I promise you, I learned very clearly that the world goes on just fine.
Oh, yeah.
Without me.
Yes. That can be a release too,
And it's not that I wasn't missed or that I couldn't have done things, but it's like when you become that, and I have a friend, a woman who, as a leader, she always still talks about how I said this to her one time. It's like, we all have that like Popeye arm, which is like that, it's like boing, and it's like, oh, I'm going to rise to the occasion. I can push it into overdrive. I can, and we get stuff done and it's Herculean and it's whatever. But when that stuff becomes like every Tuesday or every morning at 8:30, that starts to set you up physically for like adrenal fatigue, for like your parasympathetic nervous system, your rest and digest, right? So you got your fight and flight, the sympathetic nervous system. I think that's the right term. Parasympathetic is the rest and digest, which is supposed to be working equally well.
Yeah.
And it literally gets in our bones. It literally gets in our central nervous system that we don't know how to let go of the drive, of the dire something's about to fall apart. It's almost like what PTSD shows up as. You're always scanning the perimeter, what's about to go wrong. And that's where those, there are just, it starts to live in our body. It's not just our mind, that which the mind, of course, is part of the body, but these things get embedded in us, is I guess what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And equally, for us to find healing, we have to find very embodied ways to take a deep breath.
Yeah.
And learn to let our shoulders kind of relax and
Mine just is.
begin.
I was like,
know.
I'm
You told
loosening
me
it up
to.
right now. This feels really good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Often we're unaware of how much. I'll wake up in the middle of the night sometimes, with like stressful thoughts or whatever.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I'll realize I literally have my shoulders up in bed. I'm lying horizontal and learning to let your body rest. And so back to your question is, I didn't have the wisdom to notice my limits. I kept barreling, thinking I was serving God really well. And how do you ever say no to God? So it just, right? These are the messages that we have. And God was never the one with the whip cracking it. God was the one, and a mentor of mine said this, like, God was the one that was like trying to fluff the pillow under my head.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
no, sorry, I got to go to do stuff for you. And it's like,
Yeah. Sometimes I wonder if he's just like, did I ask you to go do all these things for me?
Yeah. What are you
that's
doing?
not a
What are you
sometimes,
doing?
Jane. That is not a sometimes.
Okay.
That is not a sometimes.
Okay.
We ought to ruthlessly look at everything we've said yes to.
Yeah.
And even if it's a good thing that we're enamored of and that Jesus is all glorified in, I mean, there's all kinds of rhetoric. I mean, how do you ever say no to any of it?
True.
You have to, and this is where discernment is such a key practice. Letting the noise floor drop, paying attention to what is my body telling me? What is my intuition telling me? Am I overextending here? How am I saying yes to something other than the Holy Spirit? And then we got to call that what it is. We might have said yes to leading a prayer ministry. We might have said yes to one more carpool. We might have said yes to any number of things, but they possibly weren't the thing that God was asking us to do. And just because his name gets attached to it, or even is a thing that's happening in a local church that we're a part of or whatever, we can bless all that, but it doesn't necessarily have your name on it. And that's where the discernment is so vital. And especially when my kids were young and I was learning this, that's where my community came in so importantly.
Yeah.
Like I was out for a walk one time with a friend and sort of complaining, maybe that's probably the honest truth of it. But I was, you need people that you can complain with who still love you and love God and aren't, buying into all your things. And so I'm like, and how am I going to do that? And how am I going to do that? And I got this going on and how's that going to happen? And I'll never forget, you guys, she looked at me and she said, well, it wasn't snarky. The way I'm saying it sounds snarky. It was with kindness, but gentle observation. She said, it sounds like you serve a God of impossible demands.
Wow. Ouch. Yeah. That one hurt.
Yeah. And it's like,
Yeah.
guys, could we agree that our God is not a God of impossible demands?
Amen.
No.
We get invited to things, even at times, to serve sacrificially. I'll guarantee there are, you think of the persecuted church around the world, there are circumstances that can feel absolutely impossible. And even then, I believe we don't, this is not my personal experience. I have no right talking about it. But when we read of Stephen being martyred in Acts, and that he has this peace, he's able to extend forgiveness to the people who, it's like, this is not full of vitriol and anger and who's going to get you now. And there's just none of that.
Yeah.
So even if we say there are worst case scenarios of impossible demands, but somehow Jesus is able to hold that lightly on the cross. Stephen is able to hold that lightly in his moment of greatest suffering. And I think a lot of the suffering I observe in leaders, moms, everywhere, is that if we're honest, we take a lot of it on ourselves. And thinking we're being obedient or responsive to a moment, but because as oldest daughters, we tend to look at any circumstance and think, I got to get in there.
Yeah.
Something's going to go wrong.
Yeah.
Sure.
If I don't do it, who will? Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. And,
Yeah.
if we keep saying that, those who's never show up because we keep having our Popeye arm and making it work.
Yeah.
Anyway,
yeah,
yeah. We do not serve a God of impossible demands. And even in the hardest of circumstances, he can make a way for us to encounter those hard circumstances with peace and a lightness of being. And when we've lost our peace, it's something to start paying attention to and not like another thing to be judgy about. It's not like, oh, here I go again, I suck at this. No, this is like an invitation to notice. Something is not well. Something is warning us there's a concern here. And it's a really good idea to halt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pay attention. What is going on inside?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What does it mean?
Yeah. No, that's
I don't know
good.
if that's helpful,
That's
but
good.
It is. Well, and I when you said the thing about the shoulders, I don't remember what it was, so don't make me cite my sources here, but isn't it like like your animal instinct is I'm in danger, I'm going to cover like a vulnerable part of my, so you're trying to like cover your neck or your, whatever. And that just kind of and I know that we talked about this before and again, I can't remember the exact phrasing, but it's something like if you don't find the time for rest, your body will find it for you or something like that. And,
Wow.
I think burnout is something that, we all understand what that is because unfortunately we've probably all dealt with it at some point.
Yeah.
And Mindy, you've written about soul neglect and what that looks like. And, we always think of burnout as like physically, like we're tired or we don't feel well or, anything. And like we think, oh, that's burnout, but burnout also goes inside. Right?
It does.
And so I would love for you to share what are some signs that working moms like us, we're running on empty. How can we figure out why we're running on empty and to hopefully prevent that empty tank from taking us to burnout?
Yeah. I like that you mentioned like an empty tank because I do think one of the metaphors for thinking about burnout that I find helpful is when we think about, we talk about being exhausted, but I'm like, if I go for a run, how much exhaustion just left my body? Like, I don't know. I don't have a way of knowing. But when we also use that term financially, when we're exhausting the funds in a bank account. And an account is a discrete thing, and it can have stuff in it, and it can get depleted. And you can exhaust the funds in a bank account, and when that happens, and we even call it our burn rate, right? That's what you call the burn rate when you're dropping cash. You can still write checks on that account, but they will not clear. And that's what ends up happening with us is we start writing checks on our energy. We start writing checks on what we're paying attention to, on that are not, they're violating our limits. This is where the limit conversation can come in handy. And so when we're talking about burnout, I think it extends far beyond our physical. I think the physical is actually one of the places where the burnout that's actually starts on the inside shows up.
Yeah.
Because that's like that, even the physical fatigue is one thing we should be paying attention to.
Yeah.
When what do they say? Your get up and go has gotten up and gone, like that.
Yeah.
When that's happened, rather than putting into hyperdrive and figuring out one new way to take one more supplement to one more like productivity hack, maybe it's a symptom to pull it back for a minute and figure out what's going on. What are my expenditures? What are my avenues of replenishment? What are my rhythms of rest? And not to look at those as things that are to be endured or barely tolerated, but actually as high priorities. The symptoms on the inside can be any number of things, but when we we just get so super annoyed. And yes, the 3-year-old did one more time the thing that is like, I cannot believe it's like, but there are times when you can shoulder that and kind of roll with it. And there are times when it just sets you off.
Yeah.
That would be a symptom. Like, hey, maybe, you know, raging at a 3-year-old isn't exactly the most productive thing to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Nobody's happy.
I've been there. I've had to confess it.
Oh, yeah.
But it's just a sign that I'm just done. I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
You're overstimulated.
I am overstimulated. I have too many variables. I have too much going on right now. And I feel unstable. And when we start to feel unstable in any one area of our lives, we are integrated wholes. It could be instability in the workplace, but it's going to show up in how much you can handle at home. And our need for sleep might increase. Our need for movement might increase. Our need, sometimes you notice it when you start craving certain foods. There's certain foods that maybe we start craving that aren't that good for us, but sometimes you find that you're craving like really nourishing soup or some a meat, and then you're like, well, I got to go make it, right? There's just there's just a lot in this season that I would just say, moms, the stuff will get done. And if it doesn't need to get done, maybe it won't get done.
Yeah.
And what can't come to its end is you and your well-being. Because you are the one thing that's holding this whole thing together. And caring for your soul, recognizing those symptoms. Yeah, it's when we're overly angered, easily frustrated, we're overcome by guilt and condemnation. There's constant judgment and criticism of other people and ourselves. Like, these are all the symptoms of when our souls have been neglected.
Yeah.
And when our souls have been neglected for a long enough time, that's when withdrawals, and we will bottom out. And I think that's what a lot of people are experiencing right now. And they don't have maybe the language for it, even permission to say, I'm not well. And we stand up and sing, it is well with my soul at church. But like these are symptoms I should have paid attention to. I would be at a church service. We would be singing some hymn. And I didn't even grow up in a tradition that sang Protestant hymns. So I didn't even know them. And I'd be like weeping with no understanding of why. Those are the kinds of things that we have to start paying attention to. Isolating, we start isolating. Addictive patterns, eating too much, drinking too much, doom scrolling too much, can't get out of Instagram or Facebook, and it can be kind of funny. I saw something the other day that was like, I went to check the weather and like 45 minutes later, I'm still watching reels, right? And it's like that stuff happens. And so we have to, but it's symptomatic, I think. Yeah. It can be both a cause and an effect. And so how do we recover what we choose to spend our mind on, what we choose to spend our thoughts on, what we choose to connect with?
That's so good, Mindy. And I what I hear in that is just a challenge for us to consider how self-aware we are, like internally, externally, it all starts there. It's, I just think about, all the things that I get hung up on are just as you were listing out different, like addictive behaviors. I mean, scrolling is definitely one of them. I will true confessions that I struggle with. And I think I use that as a way to escape like my physical surroundings because I'm over stimulated and I'm frustrated or like whatever that triggers it. And wow, it's just really challenging and convicting to think about and talk about with you. And I just have really appreciated your depth in this conversation. And as we wrap up this portion of our conversation together, if a listener today is just listening and she's sitting with everything that you just shared, and she's walking away from today's episode, what do you want? What is like one thing you want a listener to remember in regards to like soul care, rest? What do you hope that takeaway for them would be.
And even as I heard you say that and heard myself say that around the scrolling, it is fun and it is a little relief. And it is
right.
I think what I would want anyone to hear is you are not sitting in judgment and condemnation.
Amen. Gosh.
Your life matters.
Yeah.
And even as you're courageously trying to make it through, right? And if you open Instagram one more time and you're like, why am I doing this? Just let God meet you wherever you are. Open the door to saying, God, where are you right now? And how can I connect with you? You don't need to go undo whatever happened yesterday. You don't need to make any new resolutions about, I'm not ever gonna always stop this. No, none. I would just say you might need to hit pause on this and just take a breath and say, God, I think I need help. I don't know what it is, but I think I need help. And you would be in the vast majority of people who are saying that right now. I hope that one day we could say there was a vast majority who got the help they needed. Yeah. But it's as near as your breath, you guys. It's as near as your breath. And it is not judgment. It is not condemnation. It is the lover of your soul who's trying to fluff the pillow behind your head, most likely.
I love that.
Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you so much for joining us, Mindy, and just sharing
delighted
your heart
to.
with this. I feel like I could talk to you for hours, but I want to respect your time. So
Thank you, dears. I could talk to you guys too. You're fabulous. And just know, the season you're in is so good. It's so short.
Yeah.
And you're a vital piece. You're not just the household staff. You're not just the caretaker. You are an embodied person in whom the living God dwells. You are the one mother that your kids get. People can hire other people for your jobs. Your kids only get you. And for them to get the version of you that you feel is closest to who God's made you to be, that's what I would want for you. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Mindy. So we've spiraled thoughtfully, we've unpacked some tough truths, and now it's time for a segment that's exactly the opposite of qualified advice, because who needs more expert opinions? It's time for unqualified advice, where the wisdom is suspect, but the heart, it's genuine. So, Mindy, we are just...
You guys are awesome.
Mindy, we're Jordan and I are gonna popcorn style ask you these rapid fire questions, and we just want to know what you would do or what your answer would be, really, in these various situations.
So, okay, go.
All right. First question: if your brain had a low battery warning, what would your version of the red flashing light be? An example could be crying over cold coffee, rage texting your husband about laundry, raging at your 3-year-old. I don't know, like.
So my current circumstances, when do I know what starts flashing? I do get super judgy. Ooh. And I notice that it's judgy about myself as well as judgy about other people. And so I notice that and I'm like, wait, what? Who? What? Where's Mindy? Who just moved in? So that's the first thing that came to mind. It's not a very physical thing. So if I come up with something better, I'll let you know. But
I love it. It's honest.
What I notice. Yeah.
It's honest. And I can guarantee you're not alone. So in that one, for sure.
Yeah. Oh, but I'm so right.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Duh.
Duh.
All right, next one. So your kids, so maybe think back, because your children are hopefully not coming to you while you're eating dinner and eating lunch and asking you what you're going to make them for dinner. But maybe your husband, let's just say it's your husband. You're sitting there chewing lunch. They come up, say, hey, what's for dinner? What is your go-to survival dinner that you're not ashamed of?
Oh, I'm not ashamed ever of breakfast for dinner.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh,
Scrambled
amen.
eggs and toast. I mean,
Protein.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah. Now, my kids, their memory of their childhood, because every dinner was a survival dinner.
Yeah.
I mean, pasta and red sauce from a jar, like, was so often that's all we got, guys. It's all we can pull together. I do have a couple soups that a friend taught me that you can make an actually decent homemade soup within like 45 minutes.
Oh, nice.
I have like 2 or 3 recipes that became the go-to. Like, if I had the ingredients on hand, it didn't melt my brain. I'm not a big chef, but they were nourishing and good and fun. And so those
all
also
matters.
Yeah.
That is all that matters.
Yeah,
I
you
love
need
it.
a couple of those.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, Mindy, your body is begging for respite. Your guilt says, do one more thing. What's your go-to excuse to trick yourself into resting?
Can I just say I don't have to anymore.
Oh,
I don't have
amen.
to trick
nice.
myself.
Good for you.
I don't want to swear on your very nice podcast, but
Go
I
for it.
start saying, like, I respond to those demands
Got it.
differently
Got
because
it.
of what I've been through.
Yeah.
And it's like, they're just illusions, you guys.
Yeah.
They're just illusions. If
Yeah,
somebody's
call it out.
bleeding from the head or in prison or in like something that
Sure,
we got to
yeah.
go down to the police station, then we'll go. Okay, so I'm the oldest of 7.
Same.
My mom is. Are you really?
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
Oh my.
All right.
different.
So oldest daughters of 7 is a
Yeah.
whole different category.
I know.
All right.
Yeah.
So
Oldest of 2 over here. So
yeah.
come on.
Well, it's
But you still count,
the same
Jane.
thing.
I know, but
absolutely.
yeah. You got a brood.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do. And
Yeah.
and I had 5 boys after me. So a lot of
So funny.
gender, who did what kind of things
Sure,
played into
sure.
that. So any case, my mom, we just spent the weekend with her. She's amazing. She is one of the most gracious and gifted human beings. And she's hilarious. She'll talk herself off the ledge on any number of things. But her go-to that we all know is like, hey, if nobody's bleeding from the head and nobody's in prison, like, it's a good day.
Oh my word.
And so
Yes.
you sort of maybe you sort of create, instead of how do I get permission to rest right now? It's
Yeah.
like, how bad would it have to be for me not to rest right now?
That's
Okay.
good.
I like it.
what's your okay, this is a crisis to push it into overdrive situation.
Yeah.
Like, no, what is the floor? What's the floor?
Yeah. Yeah.
And if it's not that, then I'm gonna go for a walk.
I love it. I love it.
Nice. That's awesome.
Okay,
That's
that
great.
wasn't rapid fire, but that's
That's
my
okay.
answer.
We
But it was good.
appreciate it. It was very good. It was very good. That'll make the cut.
Oh, yeah. All right. Now I'm curious, if you could outsource one thing in your life right now, guilt-free, forever, what would it be?
Deciding what to wear every single day.
Oh, yes.
Preach. Yeah.
I would outsource that
Oh, yeah.
all the time. I'm all for uniforms. I've never worked or gone to school at a place that had them, but I think it's a great idea.
Love it.
Which fictional character do you most relate to when you're burnt out? And why is it probably a raccoon in a hoodie clutching a coffee?
Is that a real character?
I don't know. Like racking my brain, like, who are they talking about? I don't know.
A fictional
Could be.
character?
Yeah, that you relate to when you're burnt out.
I mean, I guess it's that Popeye character. It's
Oh,
that
okay. Yeah.
or the who's the Tasmanian devil. It's like you're just
Uh-huh.
spinning.
Yeah,
You're
you're
just
just
spinning and
spinning
spinning and
up.
spinning and running. So I'll use those.
I
Nice.
like that. I like
Nice. All right. If self-care weren't, which, here's the thing. I don't like that self-care is usually like it's face masks or bubble baths or, whatever. Great. But I want to know, for you, what would your real version of self-care be? Like, for me, it would be no more touching, silence, all of the very introverted things that I hold here near and dear. So, Mindy, what is your real version of self-care?
Like my daily rhythms and stuff.
Like if you went, all right, I need self-care, what are you going to do?
Silence is always huge. Getting out in nature, having something to look at that's not man-made. Even if it's a plant in a house, it doesn't have to be some grand view, but it's like natural things bring peacefulness. And I think that helps. And then being with people who are life-giving.
Yeah.
I think it is so restoring to the soul to get time with people who are life-giving.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. Mindy, you're given a surprise day off with no expectations. That sounds beautiful. What is the first thing you don't do, and how guilty would you feel about it on a scale of 1 to stress eating a row of Oreos? Which is one of my favorite pastimes.
You're making me feel guilty right now because I am so far out of those kind of demands that you have. I'm almost like when my kids were teenagers, and if I had a full-time job and somebody had offered me that, I think it would be that sort of the letting go of how is everybody that you care about doing.
That's good.
Like if you're gone, are they okay? Like when our youngest graduated school, I felt like a whole third of my brain opened up again.
Wow.
Yeah, because you don't even know how much you're always aware. Where's this one at? What's this? What's next for them? Did they finish that round of penicillin? It's like you do part of your brain goes to your work, part of your brain goes to your marriage, part of your brain goes to other things. And you don't even know how much of your brain space is occupied by, are they okay? Where are they at? What's next?
Yeah.
And that's a good thing. It's a gift. It's not burdensome, except you don't know it's almost going on until you sort of graduate out of that season.
Yeah.
So I would say for me, if I were really in that season, if I were given a day off, the thing that would be hard for me to let go of would be, is everybody okay?
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
That is really good. All right, we're going to end it on this one. So what advice are you going to give your past self, the one who thought burnout was a buzzword and rest was optional, and extra points if you yell it like a coach in a sports movie?
Oh my gosh, I'm not that person. Ted Lasso is
Pretend.
amazing, but yes. Everything I wrote in the book is the advice I would give to that person.
You've given lots of advice.
Yep,
That's awesome.
Everything I wrote, but my sort of street language for it is prioritize the well-being of your soul above everything, above everything.
Yeah.
And trust that it's going to all work out, that the peoples are going to be fine, the work is going to get done, that you're going to be well. And that's a huge gamble that very few, I might be the only person that's out there trying to convince you that gamble is worth it.
Yeah.
Because everything else you see will probably push against that. But I will promise you, you are held by the living God.
Yeah. Amen.
So that's my advice. Simple.
Thank you for your unqualified advice.
It's
That
very
felt pretty
unqualified.
qualified, though. That last one felt
that
pretty
one
qualified.
felt pretty qualified for the sake of the title of the show.
I know.
Well, the segment.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yes. Well,
I love
Mindy,
it.
and we love you. Thank you
Yes,
so
thank
much
you.
for joining us and
Glad to.
showing us that rest doesn't just affect our physical bodies, but it also impacts our souls. Like I'm hoping that is what everybody is taking away, is that don't just look for the signs of burnout on the outside, because this is going to sound weird. So one of my clients that I work with is a pest control company. And I have since learned that if you see a termite problem, it's actually probably been there for a long time, because they work
Yes.
from the inside out. So
Yeah.
burnout is a termite. There we go. Just
Wow.
like a friend
Great
is a termite.
metaphor.
Put that on a shirt.
There you
yeah.
go. Exactly.
Yeah,
So-
if the guys, the body keeps the score.
Yeah. It's
Your
true.
body will talk. And I forced out of my body what could never come out of my mouth, which was the word no. Like I can't keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So don't force it out of your body. That should be the last thing. Guard and
Okay,
protect it.
exactly.
All right. Love you guys.
Love it. Thank
Thank
you. Thank
you.
you. Thank you. We so appreciate it.
Wow, Jordan. I mean, I have so many thoughts about today's conversation. So, what's the takeaway here? What's sticking with you after all this chaos?
Well, and it's funny because I know that we all mentioned we're firstborn daughters.
Yep. Amen.
Yes. And some productivity culture, right? I mean, that is something I have always struggled with, honestly, whether I knew that was what it was called or not. And so I really just, all of the advice she gave on that, and just, I mean, it's breaking a cycle, right? It's a toxic cycle.
Yeah.
that we're all sitting here buying into, this productivity culture, which, let's be honest, is just a lie. Yeah. And I think our buying into that is what has made us, maybe I'll call it as a generation. I don't know if I can only pin it to one, but we're all just tired, and I think it's because we've put ourselves up against impossible definitions that we could never actually live up to. So, and it's all thanks to productivity culture. So yes, breaking the toxic cycle. That is what I'm going to take away from this for sure. What about you? What was your takeaway?
Well, it's funny you brought up the productivity culture because something that Mindy had shared with us, which is something that I'm kind of taking with me because I feel so often we get a calling, we get a vision or a direction of where we want to go. And then somewhere along the way, we just take everything into our own hands and we just run with it. And we feel like, well, I got to do all these things for God. I got to do all these things for my people. I got to do all these things. And God's like, time out. Like, I never said you had to do it alone. And Mindy said this thing that really struck me where she shared that God was the one that fluffed the pillow under my head. Like just this whole idea where God's like, honey, I never asked you to do all those things. And yes, I called you to this vision, this desire, this thing that we're working towards, but I want to do it with you. And maybe those moments where we're burning ourselves out, we're running ourselves ragged, God's like right beside us, like, you know what? I think you need to take a nap. I think you need to give it a rest and understand that you have limits, but I'm the God of the universe who is limitless. And together we are going to achieve great things, but it's the emphasis on together because I think we just get so wrapped up in our individualistic society because that's the messaging that we hear out there, and it's so easy to get entangled into that. So I just really appreciated Mindy's perspective, and she was just really fun to talk to overall.
I agree. And listeners, viewers, yes, you right there. What's your takeaway? DM us, tag us, scream into the internet abyss. I promise we're listening as long as we had caffeine. We are, promise.
Yes, we need that caffeine for sure. And if today's episode made you laugh, made you think, or just helped you feel a little less alone in the chaos, do the usual. Like, share with your favorite chaos partners, and subscribe, and help us get the word out there that this podcast is out there to help us form this community. Yes, that would be awesome. Thank you.
More of us out there. Yeah, exactly.
Yes. We're not the only ones.
Yes, exactly. Well, after all, life's messy.
Chaos is real, and none of us have it all figured out.
And that's exactly why we're here. Because what even is this?